Give you a fright? Honestly, who comes to Wulong Hill in the middle of the night? This place isn't as safe as you'd believe. Come with me. I'm Hu Tao, Wangsheng Funeral Parlor Director. Let me help you cross over.
Hu Tao just got a rerun banners alongside with Yelan. So in today's video, we will be covering on how you want to build your Hu Tao and what weapon and artifact sets that you want to look for on your Hu Tao. Hope you enjoy today's video.
Well are those who rise in the early morn, while those laid to bed I shall forewarn.
Now let's actually get into how you want to build your Hu Tao to maximize your damage. Starting things off, the artifact sets that you want for this character. First of all, you should know that there are a few different sets that are viable and pretty similar in strength to one another. But your go-to option for power is going to be the 4-piece of Crimson Witch of Flames. This is because the tubes will give you 15% pyro damage with bonus, and then the 4-piece will increase your reaction damage, more specifically your vaporized damage, by 15%, but also any other reaction you may be proccing, while also giving you another 7.5% pyro damage Patronus when you use your elemental skill. Because of that, this is typically going to be your best in slot artifact set just for Hu Tao. So generally speaking, I recommend the Crimson Witch of Flames. But there are other sets that are very close. Set like the Shai Manawa's Reminiscing. The reason why this is because the 2-piece will give you 18% attack, which isn't Hu Tao favorite stat, but isn't useless, it's not a bad stat, and then the 4-piece set will increase your normal and charge attack damage by 50% when you use your elemental skill. This lasts for 10 seconds, but costs 15 energy, and so while it makes your burst a bit more difficult to use, and you have to use it at the end of your rotation, you can't really use it as a panic button anymore. Increasing your charge attack damage by 50% is actually pretty huge and can be similar in strength to the Crimson Witch of Flames, and be really good for your Hu Tao damage from her normal and charge attack. Now a disclaimer about this set is that losing the 15 energy is annoying if you have to worry about your energy problems, and you can't use your burst whenever you want to anymore, while also being, for example, C0 Hu Tao, who has stamina issues. They have to manage the set, can be annoying and less fun play. But the stats you gain from it are definitely good, and it makes it similar to Crimson Witch. Slightly worse overall, generally speaking, but pretty similar to where if you have good substats on it, which you might get for free just by farming the emblem domain for your other characters like Xingqiu or Yelan, who you're going to be using with your Hu Tao anyways, making it a very efficient domain. Then going Reminiscence on Hu Tao, in my opinion, is still an underrated option, although keep in mind that you do lose 15 energy when you use your skill, and you need to have 15 energy or more to actually get its effect. With that said, though, you can pick based on your substats, as both of these sets are viable. Before moving on, there's actually another set I want to talk about, which is actually the 4-piece of the Gilded Dreams, a pretty new elemental mastery set. It just gives you a ton of ADM on the 2-piece, and then up to 150 on the 4-piece, 50 elemental mastery for each party member you have that isn't pyro, and then 40% attack for any other party member who is pyro. Because of that, this set will give you a ton of elemental mastery total, either 180 elements mastery with 14% attack if you have another pirate character, or 230 commercial mastery just straight up if Hu Tao you're only pyro. Because of that, the 4-piece Gilded Dreams is definitely very viable 4-piece, only slightly worse than the Criminal, which are Flames, so if you have good substance on the set, then use it on your Hu Tao. If you don't have any of the 4-piece sets, and have better substance on 2 pieces, then match 2-piece sets, the 2 pieces of Elemental Mastery set. Alright, now with the artifact out of the way, what stats you want on your Hu Tao? Well, generally speaking, crit rate and crit damage are going to be essential to maximizing your damage, but assuming you are proccing reactions on your Hu Tao, you are vaporizing the Elemental Mastery stat is also going to be very viable, alongside HP percent, as your Hu Tao will primarily scale on those stats. Because of that, the stat property you want is as follows. You first want to get around 100 Elemental Mastery, as Your first 100 mastery is going to be more important than crit is going to be the most important stat for you Hu Tao personal damage, so make sure you have at least 100. After that you can start prioritizing crit rate and crit damage, but elemental mastery HP percent are still going to be very good and pretty similar in strength to one another. In fact, while the first 100 elements mastery is more important than crit, getting within the 200 to 300 elemental mastery range is also pretty ideal and will maximize your damage and can be even better than HP up until that range. Would you mind with elements of master in particular? How good it is can vary based on how you play your Hu Tao and what other elemental mastery buffs you may be gaining, but in general being within that range is very good. With your first 100 being essential, 80% is also really good, and so because of that those are all the subsets you're gonna look for on your pieces. With your sense being either HP or elemental mastery, both of which being very similar in strength, just overall. Do keep in mind certain weapons like these staff, Scarlet Sands, can make you want elemental mastery a bit more, but in general each elemental mastery are very similar in strength on your sands, so pick the one that you have better substats. Also do keep in mind that this applies also with the Staff of Homa. Even if you scale a bit more with HP, elemental mastery remains as essential. Moving on, for your goblin, you definitely want to prioritize either crit rate or crit damage, whichever one you need more of. Alright, moving on. Let's talk about Hu Tao weapons, covering for best options for every type of player, explaining in detail which weapon you should use and how important certain weapons like the Staff Homa are for your Hu Tao. Starting things off, let's talk about the Staff of Homa, which is Hu Tao's signature weapon. And it is definitely a really good one in terms of signature weapons. Homa is especially good on the Hu Tao because it gives you just an insane amount of stats. 66% crit damage and the high base attack, which in and of itself makes it pretty good for any polearm character in the game. But it's especially good for Hu Tao because of its effect, which will increase your HP by 20%. And then give you an attack bonus based on your HP. This attack bonus increases further if you are under 50% HP, which Hu Tao will typically be given on how her kit works. Because of that, this weapon is definitely made for Hu Tao and is a really good one in terms of limited weapon. With that said, other than the Staff Homa, another really good options include the Staff of Scarlet Sands, Sino signature weapon, which gives you a ton of crit rate and then also converts your elemental mastery into attack, so very good especially if you're stacking EM on your Hu Tao. The Jade Spear can also be good 5-star option, as it gives you a decent amount of crit rate and then a ton of attack and also some damage percent when you stack the weapon and you're on field attacking enemies, while Hu Tao skills primarily on HP more so than attack. Attack percent is still valuable for her, it's not useless. It will still buff your damage, so getting a ton of stats only a weapon like the Jade Spear is still going to be good for Hu Tao. With that said, the weapon refinements such as the Dragon's Vein is especially good as it gives you a ton of element mastery, and then will increase damage against opponents affected by Hydro or Pyro, which will pretty much always be the case in an optimal Hu Tao team. Deathmatch, on the other hand, is really good as a battle pass weapon as it just gives you a ton of crit rate, and the low base attack isn't that big of a deal as a character. I wanted to mention that the Lithic Pole Arm can actually be okay. The Lithic Spirit can be decent for the crit rate on this effect, alongside a lot of attacks. With that said, I generally don't recommend this weapon as much as Deathmatch or Dragon's Vein, so do keep that in mind. Lastly, free-to-play options you can use are blocked with a pole. If you save up the Star Glitter and get it, it's an okay option for just crit damage, or even the White Castle, which gives you crit rate and an effect that buffs your normal attacks, making it an okay option. With that said, I'll put a weapon ranking on screen now to help you illustrate the difference between weapons and artifacts like the stats that you have and many other factors. Use this only as a general ranking. As you can see, the Staff of Homa is the best weapon for her, but the Jade Spear is not far behind, and again, even with weapons like Dragon's Vein or Deathmatch you can perform very well on your Hu Tao, so it isn't a needed upgrade, but it is still a pretty good one. After all of that, your Hu Tao should look like this. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to leave a like and click the bell icon so you won't miss any of my future videos.
Toodaloo.
Bye.